Waiting for your baby to cry before you feed them is a feeding myth that can cause a lot of stress for the baby and cause a lot of stress for the family. I see it all the time as a pediatric nurse practitioner in IBCLC. Crying is actually a late hunger cue. We want to recognize all these little subtle signs beforehand so that we can make feeding a little bit less stressful for you and a little bit less stressful for your baby. Hi, my name is Erin. I am a pediatric nurse practitioner and an IBCLC, here to serve you a bite-sized pieces of feeding information to make feeding your baby a little bit easier. What you need to know is that there are early hunger cues and middle hunger cues, and then there are these late hunger cues. And if you're trying to feed your baby with the late hunger cues, it's gonna be a little bit harder. Have you ever been so hangry that you refuse to eat? It happens to me sometimes where I'm like, nope, I'm totally fine. I don't need to eat. And then I get grumpier and grumpier and angry. And finally I eat and I'm like, oh, that was so much better. Well, the same thing happens with babies. So let's talk about early hunger cues so you know the best time to feed your baby before they're dysregulated. One of the most shocking times that it's great to feed your baby is when they're in active sleep. This is when your baby is going through their sleep cycle and you're like, are you actually sleeping? Or are you awake? That is like the very, very beginning stages of them saying, I'm hungry and I need to be fed. The other signs of early hunger cues are sort of moving their head from one side to the other, licking their lips, starting to suck on their fingers, bringing their hands to their mouth. Those are all signs that they're hungry and they want to be fed. The middle hunger cues are when your baby is starting to wake up, they're starting to move around a little bit more, so they're really actually active. This is a great time to try to latch them. This is when they're sort of moving around. They might be fidgeting a little bit, but they haven't gotten to the part where they're starting to feel like a little bit like tighter or tense. They are stretching, they're moving, they're bringing their hands to their mouth, they're actively sucking, they're moving their head deliberately to whoever's holding them and then trying to latch on to like anything. So this is when the grandparents are holding the baby and the baby starts trying to latch on to grandpa. Like that's a great time to feed your baby. Late hunger cues are when your baby moves from being active to kind of frantic or very tight and tense. They're going from being a little bit looser to like, oh, I need this food right now. Their face may get scrunched, their face may get red, they may start crying, they may start actively rooting around frantically. They're a little bit more tight and tense. Now we might have to calm them before we actually are able to get them to latch. Sometimes babies go from 0 to 100 in like less than a second, and you need to then calm your baby before you get them to latch. You can try to latch them when they're dysregulated. Sometimes it might be successful and they will latch on and start sucking and swallowing. That's great. Sometimes that is not the case. The best thing you can do is skin to skin. So skin to skin is going to be great for regulation of you, great for regulation of your baby. If skin to skin is not calming them, you can shush them. You can do the butt pats. That's what I like to do. You can move them up and down and up and down. So doing whatever you need to do to calm your baby. And then when baby is a little bit calmer, then you can start to try to latch again. Sometimes if you put your finger in their mouth, they will start sucking and then you can transfer them onto the breast. Sometimes the pacifier will work to calm them down because they have the suck reflex, and then you can put them on the breast. Now, I do want to share a scenario that I see often, which is that baby is frantic, baby will not latch, they give the baby the bottle, and baby takes the bottle right away. It can be very, very discouraging, especially in those early days when you're like, all I want you to do is latch and eat. Is it that hard? Then you give your baby a bottle, and then they suck it down. You're like, does my baby prefer the bottle over me? Just know that it is truly because of the suck reflex. If we put anything toward the top of baby's mouth, they're going to start sucking on it. Whether that's your nipple, that's a bottle nipple, that's a pacifier, that's a finger, they're going to start sucking. If your baby takes a bottle great and is having a hard time latching, just know that it's because of their suck reflex. And it can just be really, really challenging for families. Whether you're breastfeeding or bottle feeding, hopefully understanding these early hunger cues, these middle hunger cues, can help you feed your baby calmer and make this everything a little bit less stressful. Make sure to hit subscribe. Next thing we're going to be tackling is, what does a good latch actually look like? Bye-bye.